There's this one thought that completely rewired how I operate now, and I only found it because I was genuinely terrified I wasn't going to make it back. Here's what happened. Okay, so I need you to stay with me for a second, yeah? I'm not going to talk about morning routines or journaling or drinking more water or any of that. You've heard it all. It didn't stick, not because you're broken or anything, just because none of it actually touched the real problem. The real problem is you already know what to do, you've known for a while, and you're still not doing it. And that gap between knowing and actually doing, it's quietly eating at you in this way that's kind of hard to even put words to. I've been right there in that gap for a long time, watching people around me move, build stuff, figure things out, while I was just sitting there, understanding exactly what I needed to do, and somehow doing none of it. And then I went on this hiking trip that almost killed me. And somewhere on an icy mountain in the Urals, no cell service, group starting to panic. I understood something. One single thought. And it's not what you would expect. Stay with me. Let me set the scene real quick. This was during a rough stretch. You know the kind. Wake up and the first feeling is just this low, gray weight. Nothing dramatic. Just the slow realization that time keeps moving and you're not really moving with it. You're watching, thinking, perpetually about to start. I knew what I wanted. I knew the steps that made sense. Had the info, had the time, still nothing. And on some level, I think I was hoping if I just thought about it long enough, clearly enough, the motivation would eventually show up and carry me, like it'd arrive one morning fully formed and I'd finally be ready. It didn't. So instead, I went on this trip. Ural Mountains, deep winter, the kind of remote where far from civilization isn't poetic. It's just true. Small group, hard terrain, conditions fine, until they weren't. And on one climb, icy slope, fog rolling in, visibility dropping fast, something shifted in the group. Physically, it was still manageable, objectively, but the scale of it hit us all at once. The mountain above still looked massive. The path behind felt so far, and that combo, how much left, how far we'd come, it created this mental spiral that had nothing to do with real danger. People froze. I froze, not because we couldn't move, because we were suddenly looking at the whole thing at once. And here's what that moment taught me about every goal I'd ever abandoned. Big goals feel overwhelming not because they're impossible, but because your brain tries to hold the entire journey at the same time. Every step you haven't taken yet, every obstacle you can vaguely picture, every version of yourself that might fail somewhere along the way. And when your brain does that, it creates something that feels like paralysis but is really just inertia. The inertia of not moving, the habit of stillness. Procrastination isn't laziness. I want to be really clear on that because you're just lazy is both mean and wrong. Procrastination is inertia. It's a body and mind that got really comfortable with zero effort. And now, effort feels like this huge, unnatural thing that needs some special internal switch to flip. You're waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel motivated, waiting for that green light inside that isn't coming, because that's not how it works. Here's the uncomfortable part. Motivation doesn't come before action. It comes after. I know that sounds backwards. Probably feels backwards if you've spent years waiting to feel motivated first. But the research on behavioral momentum, and honestly just normal human experience, keeps saying the same thing. Action creates energy, not the other way around. Your brain sees movement and goes, something's happening, something worth continuing. And it starts releasing the chemicals for focus, engagement, forward motion. It's almost mechanical, almost embarrassingly simple. But we've been thinking about it wrong the whole time. We treat motivation like a prerequisite. Gotta have it before you can act, so we wait. Waiting becomes default. Default becomes who you are. And suddenly 2 years pass and you're still thinking about starting the thing. Back to the mountain. The moment things actually shifted wasn't dramatic. No big speech, no rush of courage. Someone just said, okay. Next step, just this one. Not the summit, not the whole descent, not camp or warmth or the end, just the next foothold, right there, 6 inches up, and something in the group unlocked because that was doable. That was only that. You could do it without knowing how the rest turns out. And we moved, then kept moving. The mountain didn't get smaller, but how we related to it changed completely. That's the whole principle. That's what I've been running on ever since. When you feel stuck, not in crisis mode, just that quiet, frozen way, you don't need the full path. Don't need plans for every what if. Don't need to feel ready. You just need the next step. One, immediate, specific. And next steps have to be actually small, not start the business plan small, not begin my fitness journey small. Those are projects pretending to be steps. I mean, open the document. That's it. Just open it. Put on your shoes and step outside. Not run. Just outside. Write one sentence, post one thing. Do one push-up on the kitchen floor because you were standing there anyway. They feel too small to matter. That's exactly why they work. Your brain can't call them overwhelming because they're not. And once you've done the embarrassingly small thing, you're in motion. And motion has different physics than stillness. Quick example, because abstract stuff is easy to nod at. Say you want to run regularly. You've told yourself this before, probably bought shoes already. Traditional way, make a plan, schedule, commit to 3 days a week, track everything. Inertia way, today, just go outside. Don't even plan to run. Just be outside in the shoes. That's the mission. And what usually happens? You start moving. Because you're already there. And moving feels easier than standing still once stillness is broken. Or say you want to create content. Writing, videos, whatever. Traditional spirals into niche research, gear. I'll start when setup's better. Inertia says, write one thing today. One. Doesn't have to be good. Doesn't have to go anywhere. Just the act of writing produces the next sentence, which produces the next idea, which over time becomes something real. Even tiny things count. Cleaning your desk when stuck. 10 push-ups when foggy. They're not distractions. They're proof to your nervous system that you are someone who acts. And that proof stacks. Here's what I want you to sit with for a sec. The shift isn't think positive or believe in yourself harder. It's more mechanical than that. And honestly, less emotionally heavy. It's just, stop asking, how do I climb this whole mountain? And start asking, what's the next step I can take right now? Not today, right now. Because the knowing-doing gap doesn't close with more thinking. It closes with one concrete, immediate action, no matter how small, that breaks the stillness and starts a new default. Action makes energy. Energy makes more action. Over time, that becomes a different life. Not overnight, not highlight reel material at first, but structurally different, because the habit underneath changed. You're building action inertia instead of stillness inertia, and whichever you practice more, gets easier. I'm not saying this is easy. The mountain was cold. Visibility sucked. We were scared, but we made it down. One step at a time. Not because we were brave and because we stopped staring at the whole thing and started looking at just the next foothold. That's all this is. You don't need it all figured out. Don't need perfect plan or right moment or the ready version of you. That version doesn't show up early. It shows up through the steps, not before. So the only question worth asking right now, at the end of this, is, what's one step I can take today? Not a plan. Not a whole life overhaul. Just one step. Specific. Small enough you can do it before you talk yourself out. Do that. Then, the next. Then, the next. The mountain doesn't get smaller, but you get better at walking. If this landed, the next video digs into why your beliefs are actually the ceiling on all this, and how to quietly start raising it. It's right there on screen. Tap it.